Welcome to Getting Started with MaRMAT for macOS. In this video, we're going to go over the process of downloading and installing the MaRMAT Reparative Metadata Assessment Tool, MaRMAT, for Mac users. We're going to start on the home page for marmatproject.org, and we're going to go ahead and click the Download MaRMAT button at the center of the screen. That's going to bring you to our GitHub repository where you can find the most current release for various operating systems. Again, we're going to be showing how to get started with Mac, so I'm going to start by downloading the MaRMAT zip file for Mac OS. And that's going to give me the option to download that file, and I'm going to bring it to my downloads. Once it's downloaded, you can go ahead and click on that file to unzip it, and this is going to be the folder from which you launch the program. But before we launch the program, we have to make sure we have a couple of dependencies installed for Python, and to do that we have to go into Terminal on Mac. So we're going to go into our Finder, access Applications, go down all the way to Utilities, and under Utilities, we can find Terminal, and we'll open up that application. And to install the two dependencies, which are pandas and pyqt6, we're just going to type out pip, P-I-P, 3, space, install, space, pandas, space, pyqt6. And this is case sensitive, so you're going to want to make sure the P and the Q are capitalized, but not the T. So I'm going to go back and fix my error there. And then we can click return on the keyboard. And you'll notice it might take a little bit of time to get everything installed. That's just fine. Once everything's installed, you'll see that successfully installed warning message there, and you'll also notice that the name of your machine has returned before the percentage sign, which means you're ready to go further with any commands. The next thing we need to do is we need to actually open the MaRMAT user interface, and we're going to do that through Terminal as well. So we'll keep our Terminal open, but we have to make sure we change the folder that we're in. So we're going to change the directory or use the cd command, and we're going to move to the folder that has the Python code and application for running the user interface. So again, I downloaded the program to my downloads folder, so I'm going to change to downloads and then backsplash, and we're going to use the name of the folder here within downloads. I'm going to copy that out and paste it in so I don't have to type it completely. Oh, got a little bit of extra information there. You don't have to have the whole thing, just the name of the folder. So it'll be downloads, backsplash, the name of that MaRMAT folder that you've downloaded, and then the actual code file is in this src subfolder. So we're going to do another backslash and then src. And we can go ahead and click return on the keyboard, and you'll know you're in the right folder because src now appears here before that percentage sign. The next thing we're going to do is just run the file. So we're going to tell our machine to use Python 3 to run the file main.py, and we'll click return. And again, it might take a few seconds to think, but it's going to work through the code and open up that graphical user interface, so we don't have to do any more code type things. We can just work directly in the MaRMAT interface. So you can see now that MaRMAT has launched. We can go ahead and click OK. There's a couple of things on this home page that you'll want to note. The first is getting started. This page will give you a full overview of how MaRMAT works, what types of files you'll need, and what the different steps are in going through the tool. So if you want to just quick overview of the process, you can access that there. If you go back to the home page, there's also a settings option where you can toggle your pop-ups on and off. I like to keep mine on. And you can also choose to make the application full screen. Another great option here is that you can set the default directories for your metadata, lexicon, and results. So these are going to be the default folders that you're going to pull metadata from, pull your lexicon from, and then ultimately save the results of the assessment to. Mine's already set to my default directory, but just so you can see it, you'll click Set Default Directory, go to whichever folder it is that you want to pull data from, and select Open, and the same for the lexicon, and then again for where you want your results to save to. Then we can go ahead and click back, and we're ready to actually run the program. So we'll click the red Run MaRMAT button to get started, and on this first screen, it's going to ask you to load your CSV file of your metadata. So these are the files that you want to analyze, that you want to look for terms in, and so you'll click Load Metadata, select whichever metadata file it is that you want to perform the assessment on, and open that up. MaRMAT will show up to the first 1,000 rows just as an overview, and you can take a look into that data and review it, make sure you have the correct metadata file. Once you're ready with your metadata file, you'll hit Next, and that'll bring you to a page where you can load the lexicon that you want to use. So MaRMAT supports CSV file lexicons as well. You can use our pre-curated lexicons available on our website, which includes the Library of Congress subject headings lexicon, the reparative metadata lexicon, and then the sensitive content lexicon. You can also load MaRMAT with a custom lexicon as long as it has a term and a category column within it. For this sample, I'm going to use the reparative metadata lexicon, so I'll select that one and open it up, and you can see that it has loaded the lexicon successfully. And you can review your lexicon here and make sure you have the right one up. And again, you can use a custom lexicon here as well, as long as you have a CSV file with a term column and a category column. It will work just fine. Once your lexicon file is good to go, you'll hit Next and bring you to the page where you're going to configure the analysis. So within the analysis here, you're going to set your ID column. So this is a record ID typically. It's usually the first column in your metadata, so MaRMAT will default to the first column being the ID column. But if you, for some reason, have an ID column elsewhere in your file that you want to direct it to, you can change that using the drop-down menu. It's also going to give you an overview of all of the columns in your file. You don't have to run MaRMAT against every single column in your metadata. You can choose just to look for terms in specific columns. So for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to look at the title. Let's check the description, and we'll look at our subject terms as well. In this next panel, you can see all the different categories from the lexicon that are available. Same, you don't have to use all of the categories. You don't have to check for all of the terms within your metadata. You can select just the term categories from your lexicon that are most relevant for the assessment that you're trying to perform. You can select all fields, but let's say British English isn't really relevant to your metadata, so you can go ahead and check off those categories that may not be relevant. So I'm going to run it with all the categories except for the British English categories, and my configuration looks good, so I'll go ahead and click Next, and it'll bring you to the Performing Matching screen. Here, you're going to select your output location. It will default to whichever folder you set in Settings, but you can also change it directly on this screen to any other folder that might be useful. You can change the file name, and once you're set with the file name, for me, the default is just fine, MaRMAT_output. You can click save. It's going to tell you if you have a file of the same name in there and ask you if you want to replace it. You can hit cancel and change the name to something else, or you can say it's okay to replace that file. Once your output location and file name are set, you're going to click perform analysis. And so right now MaRMAT is cross-checking the lexicon against the metadata file that you input, and it's trying to find individual matches within there. It can take a little longer depending on how many records you have in your metadata file as well. Once the perform matching is complete, again, you'll get an overview of the output. So you'll see your identifier, which you can use to go back and refer to the original record, or use this for reconciling any changes you may make to your metadata record later on. It'll give you the term that it found within that record, the category of the term that it found, which column it appeared in, so which metadata field it appeared in, and then it will also give you the original text from that column so you can see that word used in context and make that decision as to whether or not it is a term that can be changed. Once you're done, you can either click finish, and that'll bring you back to the main MaRMAT page where you can run another assessment, or you can opt to open the output file, which will bring up the full CSV with your output.